Hey, what is happening, guys? My name's Johnny. You have tuned into Rules for Rebels. And today we're going to be talking a little bit about Etsy. So I got an email from a viewer, and she makes handmade jewelry. She has a handmade jewelry shop on Etsy. She's struggling to get traffic, struggling to get sales. Talks a little bit about her marketing tactics and things like that, but said she's kind of considering going off and starting a Shopify store, and was basically just looking for advice. Is that a good move, moving over to Shopify? Is there anything she could do to improve her marketing, etc.? So that's what we're going to be talking about today. So I recently set up my own Etsy shop, just recently. I've been active with it for maybe 2 or 3 weeks at this point. I have actually had the Etsy shop for a couple years. I'm a little bit crafty. I'm not super artistic. I'm not super crafty. A few years back when I was in college, I was making, beanbag toss or cornhole games, where you throw the corn-filled bags into the hole. I was making those. I made the boards and the sets myself. I would custom paint them. I sewed the bags myself. So, I kind of figured some of that stuff out. I'm a little bit crafty. So a few years ago, I looked into doing Etsy. I kind of got out of the beanbag thing, kind of got busy with other projects and put that on the back burner. And then fast forward a year or two, I saw a lot of people selling cheap, not handmade, AliExpress jewelry on Etsy for 20 times, 30 times the price that it actually cost them. And for a second, I was kind of tempted to do something like that. But A, I just had other projects going on, and B, it just didn't seem right to do, right? Like, there are real artists out there who put a lot of time and effort into their craft, and I thought it would be kind of crappy of me to sell AliExpress stuff on there. Plus, a lot of people started getting banned for doing that anyways. But anyhow, I decided not to do that. Never really did anything with the Etsy shop until more recently. A few weeks back, I did an interview with Young of Geek Hustle and Merch Minds, the podcast. And Young had actually turned me on to using Etsy. He said he's using Etsy. He's using Printful with the Etsy drop shipping integration. So I decided to set up an Etsy shop, right? So I set up an Etsy shop selling some t-shirts. I was thinking about getting into like making coasters or something, like just something as kind of a hobby, something to just to do something a little bit different. So I decided to set up this Etsy shop. My first week, 5 t-shirt sales, which isn't crazy, but being on a new platform for the first time, I'm sure you guys all know how hard it is to get something rolling. So I was pretty happy with 5 t-shirt sales. Second week, I think I got 3 sales, and I think this week thus far I have 2 sales. I probably have another day or two of some pretty good sales because December's a good month for selling anything online Q4. But because I'm drop shipping these shirts, I only have 1 or 2 more days that if somebody orders, I can actually get it there in time for Christmas. So I'm sure I got 1 or 2 days more, and then a lot of people probably won't be ordering Christmas gifts from me, at least because I can't get them there in time. I'm not currently yet using Printful with the Etsy integration. What I'm doing is basically when an order comes in, I'm manually placing that order with the company that I'm drop shipping the shirts from, manually plugging in, or not plugging in, but copying and pasting the customer's info, and then ordering the shirt to their addresses. Right now, it's not too labor intensive. I have, a shirt sale coming in every couple days. If it scales up and starts selling more, I probably will wind up doing the Etsy to Printful integration to kind of automate the whole process. So enough about me, though. Etsy's kind of a cool platform, though, right? Like, the people on there seem really nice. They seem really eager to kind of support artists and people who are doing crafts and things like that. So what the email I got said, so I have a handmade jewelry shop on Etsy, and I'm getting very little traffic. Do you have an idea where and how I should advertise or promote myself in order to reach an international audience? I'm from Croatia, so if I could get some clicks and buys from the USA, for example, that would be great. I have an Instagram account where I post semi-regularly, but it's not getting me anywhere. Do you have any ideas? I'm all ears. So first things first, in terms of marketing, it doesn't sound like she's doing that much, right? Like, posting, by her own admission, occasionally on Instagram isn't going to get the job done. Instagram and Pinterest are incredibly powerful tools for anything that's like cute, anything fashion related, and especially like arts and crafty type items. I remember there was a company, I think they may have been featured on Shark Tank. They basically did like sock boots or something like that. It was like knitted socks that go, cover your feet and go all the way up your leg. It was something like sock boots or something like that, but they were like knitted. And I think they had pretty good numbers when they went on Shark Tank, and how they actually built up the business was almost entirely off Instagram and Pinterest. So If you're not taking advantage of those platforms, definitely take advantage of them. The cool thing about Pinterest is you can link to products, right? So every item you make, you can link directly to it. Now, the thing that's a little bit more challenging about Instagram is with Instagram, you only get one link, right? You get a bio link so you can send people to one place. Now, you could send people just in general to your Etsy shop, but if somebody sees one particular piece of jewelry that they think is really cute, and then you send them to your vague general Etsy shop, they're going to have to go find that. So there's actually a program out there called Linktree. Is it Linktree? I believe it's called Linktree. And basically what it is, you use your bio link to host multiple other links. So I think I have a video about this. If I can find it, I'll link to it in the description box below. But basically, it's just a simple. Actually, let me see if I can pull it up. I'm having a problem with my Etsy too. I was out of Wi-Fi range. Totally off topic, but I was out of Wi-Fi range, and no, it's not going to work that way. Anyhow, I'll show it to you. You guys don't actually need to see it, but I'll post a video below. What Linktree is, you use your bio link, and it makes a page with a bunch of buttons. So you can be like, piece of jewelry 1, piece of jewelry 2. In my case, if you guys want to look at my Instagram profile, I'm not that active on Instagram, but I do have a Linktree, and I think I have like a link to a Coinbase account, a link to my YouTube channel, a link to my blog, etc. So basically, even though you're only allowed one link in the bio, this link takes you to another really simplified page where you can have like 4, 5, 6 other links. So that's another thing I would take advantage, to link to multiple pieces of jewelry, or maybe if you do like necklaces, bracelets, and earrings, have a link to like each one of those categories in Etsy. So that's the first thing I would do, is make sure I'm taking advantage of Pinterest and Instagram. Pinterest, you can link directly to things. Instagram, use Linktree. That'll be very helpful. In regards to going over to Shopify, I would recommend not going over to Shopify. And the reason for that, normally I'm a big fan of not being reliant on third parties, right? So don't be reliant on eBay. Don't really be reliant on Amazon. Don't be reliant on Etsy. Here's the one reason I think it might be good for her to stay on Etsy for a little bit, because eBay, Amazon, and in the case of like Amazon merch, for example, think about how much harder it is to sell a t-shirt on Teespring where you're having to drive all your own traffic there, as opposed to on Amazon merch where you're getting all of Amazon's organic traffic, right? That's really, really powerful. And that's why everybody's rushing to get into Amazon merch, is because that organic traffic is that powerful. Now, in the case of Etsy, Etsy is full of people looking to buy handmade goods, artsy goods, handmade jewelry, etc. So if you're having trouble making sales on Etsy, where you get organic traffic and people actually looking for these items, you're going to have an even tougher time when you go over to Shopify and you're having to drive all your own traffic. Because to drive traffic, you're either going to have to pay for it, or you're going to have to create content to send people over there. Content is a lot of work, and paying for it can be expensive. So I would definitely try to do more social media promotion. Etsy has something called, I think it's called like pay-per-click Etsy advertising. Really, really powerful. I tried Etsy a little bit in the past and never really had any success. More recently, I've tried using Etsy's PPC, or pay-per-click, where your products get sponsored. And that's what all my sales have come from, is sponsored products. So if you're not using that, you definitely should use it. Yes, you are going to pay for it, but you're going to get a lot more sales, and that's going to build up some reviews. It's also going to build up, I don't really know Etsy's algorithm as well as I know like eBay and Amazon, but by getting sales, you're going to kind of kickstart the algorithm. You're going to get some reviews to your products, and that's going to help your stuff start selling organically. So that's one thing I would definitely recommend doing. I've never paid too close of attention to Etsy's fees, but they seem very minimal. So whereas Amazon's 15% final value fee, eBay is anywhere from 6 to 9% depending on the category, plus another 2.9% to PayPal. If I'm not mistaken, I believe Etsy only charges you a 20-cent insertion fee. Insertion, that's what she said. I believe they only charge a 20-cent insertion fee, and then like 3 and some change percent for the merchant processing. I don't think Etsy themselves actually takes a final value fee. I'd have to dig into that, but I'm pretty sure that's the case. At the very least, the fees seem very minimal to me, so I wasn't really that concerned about it. So selling on Etsy isn't really that much worse than like selling on Shopify. Plus, you're going to have additional costs. You're going to have to deal with the merchant processor and everything else. So Etsy kind of streamlines things. Let's see where else we were going with this. Oh, here's the other thing about Etsy. So I'm going to show you guys something. This blanket is something my girlfriend's mom knitted, right? She loves knitting. Now, we'd kind of talked about maybe my girlfriend asked me, would you want to sell her stuff online or could you sell her stuff online? And I said, I think Etsy might be a place to do it. Here's the thing about Etsy. People who are into crafts and appreciate craftsmanship and art, they like to support artists and they're also willing to pay more for items. I mean, let's just look at if you go to a craft fair, things typically aren't cheap, right? But people are willing to pay for them because they get to talk to the artist or the crafts person. They know a lot of work went into it, so they can justify paying more, even when they could go over to Hobby Lobby and buy cute little knickknacks and stuff that are made in China for probably a fifth of the price, but they're willing to pay more because they kind of want to support the artist and they appreciate the work. I'll give you guys another example. My folks for the past, they just moved back to Chicago, but for 4 or 5 years they were living down in Charleston, South Carolina. Awesome city, amazing city. I absolutely love it down there. I had considered moving down there. If my folks were still down there, I probably would be down there right now. And I may even in the next year or two wind up moving down there myself. I really love it down there that much. I really love it down there a lot. The food's great. Just everything about it's really cool. But anyhow, downtown they have an area called the Slave Market. No, it's not where they sold slaves. It's actually the market where the slaves would sell items. But it's a long strip up, I want to say it's Market Street, kind of right through like the downtown Charleston. And people selling all types of stuff like foods, baked goods, t-shirts, all types of crafts. People do like make these really cool like artworks out of like beer bottle caps and things like that. And one of the things they're famous for down there is what's called sweetgrass baskets. So not only are they sold in the market, but like when you drive up and down the highways, everybody that makes sweetgrass baskets has a stand in front of their house and they sell them. And literally, if you wanted to buy a little rose that somebody would make with sweetgrass, you're probably looking at $15 to $30. A small basket like this could be $80. If you wanted to get a big basket, you could literally pay hundreds and hundreds of dollars for a wicker basket. Well, why would somebody buy a wicker basket for like $800 when they could go to Hobby Lobby and buy a wicker basket? Well, yeah, it's a little bit nicer, but is it really worth the price? No, but people kind of know the craftsmanship that goes into it. It's kind of a historical thing for that area, and people are willing to pay for it. So that brings me to my next point, and you're going to get more money on Etsy than you're going to get anywhere else. The person going to a Shopify store or eBay or Amazon to buy something, they're typically looking for the best price. The person who's shopping on Etsy is willing to pay for quality. They're willing to support an artist, etc. So you're going to be able to get more money on Etsy. And another thing, just a little bit kind of related, is I noticed the young lady who emailed me, she's from Croatia. So on eBay, Amazon, etc., a lot, or even a Shopify store, a lot of people are going to be hesitant to purchase from somebody internationally. Here in the USA, we're kind of spoiled, right? We have everything here, so we're able to order everything domestically. Like people who live in Canada, like they have to order a lot of stuff from the States, and it's expensive, and it takes a long time, and they got to pay customs dues. So I find that people in the US are a little bit hesitant to order things internationally unless they like absolutely have to. Like when I ordered my Trezor, I ordered it from the Czech Republic, but like normally if something's available here in the States, I'd probably prefer to order it here. It just seems to me like on Etsy, people are willing, more open to buying things internationally. My girlfriend loves buying stuff on Etsy. She bought this silver ring made by this cute little Chinese guy. He's only got 3 fingers. I think he not chopped his fingers off doing jewelry making. So he's got like 3 fingers on this hand and 2 on this hand. But he makes like the most beautiful little silver rings. My girlfriend got one for her 2 sisters, and her mom. And it was really kind of a cute thing. But she ordered it from China. It came here. She's ordered a couple other things from people internationally. And I think people on Etsy, A, are willing to pay more. B, they're more open to buying things internationally. And then lastly, Etsy's just going to bring you a lot more traffic. You're going to get higher dollar values. And you don't have to worry about all the headaches of like dealing with a payment processor and designing your own Shopify store and everything else. So I guess my advice regarding this particular story, as well as any other Etsy sellers, if you're not having success on Etsy, it's probably not very likely that you're going to be successful on other platforms either. My recommendations would be go really hard on the social media marketing, especially like Pinterest and Instagram in the case of Etsy. Use the Etsy pay-per-click advertising. If you click that tab on the left side of the your like Etsy dashboard, there's also an integration where you can put your products on Google Shopping. So you ever do a Google search and you see, I think it's towards the right, it's kind of like sponsored AdSense stuff, and you see pictures of products. Well, that's Google Shopping. So you can get your Etsy products put on there as well. And I had one other here's my last marketing idea. There's this kid, his name's man, what's his name? He makes these space pottery mugs, right? And Joe Cherico, check him out on YouTube. Really amazing guy. He's a potter. I believe he holds the Guinness Book of World Records for spinning the most bowls or pots or something like that in under a minute or under 3 minutes. It was like a couple hundred. It was really pretty amazing. The guy does some really cool stuff, and he sells these mugs that are supposed to look like the galaxy or whatever. Very kind of like space, black, like moon things, black holes, etc. And some of them he sells for like hundreds of dollars. Even an average one, I think, goes for $30 to $60. And it's like, who would pay $60 for a coffee cup? But it's not just a coffee cup, it's a work of art. But one other clever thing he does, and I think this is genius, he does a lot of Facebook Live and YouTube streams where he actually shows himself on the pottery wheel. And one cool thing, a lot of people who do pottery use like an automated wheel. He actually uses I'm kicking, like you guys can actually see my foot. But if you've never seen like a kicked pottery wheel, it's not powered by a motor. You actually got to sit there and kick, which is even more impressive how he could spin so many pots in that time. And it's just, I don't know, I imagine it takes a higher level of skill, like getting the right level of rotation as opposed to just like clicking like a sewing machine type pedal and making the thing go down automatically. But anyhow, this guy does a lot of live streams, and he'll talk to his audience as he's spinning pottery, and he'll talk about pottery and talk about himself and talk about his art. And this is a way that he makes a real connection with his audience. And because you feel this connection with him, because you actually see him working on the mug, you're willing to pay $60 for a coffee mug that you could probably otherwise buy for $5 or $10. So that's one thing that he does really well. And I think this girl doing the jewelry could implement this as well. Like, do a Facebook live stream and teach people about jewelry making, or at the very least show them your process. It's a way to make a personal connection with people. It's a great way to create content to then drive people to your stores, because they see you making an item on the live stream and then they see the finished product on the store. And also, I just think it makes people want to support you that much more. So hopefully this helps you out. I don't know if she left me her name. Let me see. Yeah, she didn't leave me her name, but I hope this helps you out. And to any other Etsy sellers out there, hopefully this advice was useful to you guys as well. So thank you for tuning in. I think I've said this before, but we just recently crossed 71,000 subscribers. I'm really, really blown away. Appreciate all the support. Appreciate you guys watching. Appreciate all the thumbs up, the likes, the subscribes, and everything else. Very soon I will be hitting that 10,000 mark. But yeah, thank you guys for watching. Thumbs up if you enjoyed the video. Share it. Subscribe if you're not subscribed. Help me get to that 100,000 subscribers so I can get a silver play button up here on the wall. And I'll catch you guys on the next video.